There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hey, you Gumpers. Unplug the toaster. Yes, it's coming out on my laptop as well. I can watch myself over on the laptop. Let me just turn that off. Apologies. If you're trying to watch this on Facebook, you're not going to be able to because it gets deleted if you don't go live. In case you didn't know, and thank you to everybody who was keeping it real in the comments and the chat this morning. We had a little power outage over here in San Martino de Porto on the Silver Coast. If you're thinking of moving here, let me tell you, it's quite unusual. It does happen, and it flickers from time to time, and it's been off and it's come back on, but never as long as that. How long were we out for? Nearly an hour, I think. So I'm guessing somebody. So it sounds like one of those kind of workman related things where somebody might have put a pickaxe through a power cable and then they had to do something about it very quickly. It's not my confusion, is it? In the confusion this morning, I was trying to stay in touch with Pam, who's our guest this morning, and also Les to try and reschedule Les. But let's bring him on now because he's taken the time and trouble to be here. Lovely bar in the Azores there. How are you doing, Les?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Carl. It's nice to be here.
It looks so nice in the bar. I think that's the first thing we need to talk about because I have been sending people your way. Where are you? How's it going there? And did they turn up?
Well, nobody actually mentioned that you'd sent them, but there's a lot of people come through here, so I don't get to speak to everyone.
Oh, okay. All right. So where are you? Where is this lovely establishment?
Well, I'm still in the same place. Oceanic is right in the middle of the Atlantic. In the central group of the Azores Islands, and we're right in the center of Horta, the main town. It's like the main seaport here in the Azores, the traditional famous seaport, first stopping place for the ocean-going yachts. And we're in a building here, an old building that was built in 1822, and we're overlooking the main entrance to the to Horta Marina. So we have a very privileged position here. And we're just hanging out in the middle of the ocean here.
And you say that so casually. Good morning, Pam. Pam was meant to be. We were all meant to be here at about 8:30 this morning. We had a power cut over here on the Silver Coast, Les, and it will be more understandable if it were in the Azores just this morning, a power cut, because it's been a bit wobbly over there, isn't it, for the last few weeks?
Yeah, that's right. We haven't heard it. We're about 40 kilometers from where all the activity is going on the island of San George. We can see San George. I mean, it's in the distance. If something does erupt there, then we're definitely going to be able to see it most days. But it hasn't really affected us so much. It's very worrying for the people on San George, of course. And there's been a lot of preparation by the authorities. It's all very exciting. It's very daunting for the people who have their homes there. But this is one of the things that happen in the Azores. It's sort of, it goes with the territory. These things can happen, start up anywhere in the islands. So we just sort of live with it. It's a fact of nature that we have to deal with.
Incredible. And how, so, that's one way of putting it, isn't it? We just have to live with it. But what do people do? What is the strategy for that? Because there are people here thinking about coming to Portugal and specifically with the Azores in mind, because you do live in an amazing place there. How do people prepare themselves, physically and emotionally for such a thing?
Well, a lot of the construction in the old days, it was a big problem because all the houses were built in stone, and everything could fall down quite quickly with a shake. So it was really horrifying then. These days, a lot of the houses have very good, due to the modern building code, they have anti-seismic structure and everything. But yeah, the people are right in the epicenters when it looks like there's going to be an eruption. Yeah, it's a life-changing thing. You know, they have to move out the area. Their life stops, their businesses stop. But the local authorities are very good experience with this, and they're very well rehearsed at going through the motions, making sure everyone's moved out the way in quite an orderly fashion within good time. Because normally the eruptions, they start slowly. You feel all this activity, and then if something's going to happen, it sort of builds up over time. So usually people can be out the way before something major happens in most cases.
Wow. So yeah, the drills have been done, the preparations are ready, and it is just, like you say, you just have to learn to live with it. A little bit like people in California, I guess, or any other sort of fault line or seismic area.
Yeah, pretty much. It's sort of you just live with it. I mean, it's a fact of nature. It goes with the territory. The Azores is a beautiful place to live. But yeah, we always have this in the back of our mind. And for most people, it just happens once or maybe twice in a lifetime. You're affected by it. So it's just one of those things. There's not that many people lose lives if you look at it over a long period of time, compared to other types of disaster or illnesses, etc. So, it's just a fact of life here in the middle of the ocean.
Yep, fair enough. Have you been there, Pam?
No, I've never been. I want to go, but not yet.
I think many of us do, don't we? Sounds like, and we want to go to the Oceanic Bar there as well. I've seen some amazing pictures of the place when it's rocking and rolling. It looks lovely with the wood-burning stove there. I know you have your own ales that you've created there, Les. But we're talking this morning because but previously we talked about your incredible work, a Renaissance man who can do also not only run a bar but creates the most amazing illustrations. And it's back in the news. And you very kindly sent me a press release, a news release from the Portuguese government in Portuguese. I should have got Pam to have a look at it for me because her Portuguese is so much better than mine. What's happening, Liz? What's the development with the big fish?
Well, as you know, we spoke. It was about a year ago when we were speaking the last time, and we were preparing to make a poster which featured all the giants in the oceans, all the megafauna, all the huge animals. Yeah. And we wanted to put this in every school in the country. So we wanted to reach an entire generation of kids aged 10 to 17. And we put what we consider very high quality illustrations on one poster. And we include some basic data about the animals, which includes the maximum size, the maximum depth, the maximum age. Some of the animals living beyond 100 years. Some of the animals are more than 30 meters in length. Wow. And some of them diving to 3,000 meters. So, and what we've learned in the past is we've distributed a lot of these posters, about 100, and I think these days 160, 170,000 now, is that kids really like studying these, and they compare and they talk to each other about them, and it really engages them. And when they're presented with studies about the ocean, understanding more about the ocean, etc., the posters tend to be an anchor point. They've already got something in their mind, a visualization of what exists there, and they've got some knowledge to share with classmates. So we found this successful. So we were very lucky with this last edition because we had the support from the government in the mainland. And we've managed to make the distribution to, which is, it's happening now. The poster's been delivered, but it's currently being distributed to 4,800 schools across Portugal. And this year is the commemorations. It's the anniversary of the Magellan circumnavigation, which happened 500 years ago. So the first man to circumnavigate the globe. This is the 500th anniversary. And there was an organization that was distributing materials to the schools to celebrate this to commemorate. Yeah. So we had to reduce the poster a little bit, just 10%, so it could fit in the same tubes as the posters that were showing the map of the Magellan circumnavigation. But still, all the details are there, and hopefully they'll all be up in the classrooms in the very near future.
What an amazing achievement! So 4,000 schools now have this across Portugal.
4,800. We printed 5,200.
Okay.
Posters. 200 are apparently staying in Lisbon for distribution between different offices. 200 are on their way back to the Azores, and 4,800 are going out to the schools.
Yeah, incredible. What a brilliant achievement. And you drew these, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I do. What I made for best part of 20 years. I'm a scientific illustrator here with the University of the Azores, or I was. I still collaborate with the university from time to time. But yeah, that's what I do in the winter time when the weather's bad and it's raining. I draw animals. I make illustrations, scientific illustrations.
Fantastic. And I can really relate to what you're saying. I'm sure kids do love these. It's like, the childhood fascination with dinosaurs, isn't it? And they're such incredible creatures. And I'd never heard that phrase before. The megafauna, did you call it?
Yeah, that's right. That's what we call the big animals, the megafauna. So this is a classification. Yeah, all the big creatures that live anywhere can be megafauna on the land also. But basically, I think what makes an animal a member of the group megafauna if the animal is over 40 kilos. So all the animals that you see on the poster are over 80 pounds, if you like, except the Portuguese man of war, which isn't. It's very light, but it has tentacles that can grow to 40 meters in length. So that's why it's included as a giant. It's not because of its weight. Yeah,
incredible. And what's the big? Yeah, Portuguese man of war, superb. Yeah, top right hand corner of that poster. If others, us non-school children, want to get one of these, can we buy them from your store here, Des?
Not yet. Haven't got to that one yet. Okay. We will do eventually.
All right.
What we will do soon is we'll bring out another version of the poster, which is going to be the ocean giants of the Azores, because all these creatures live in the Azores, as well as being in Portugal, of course. So we'll be doing that. But yes, we must do that. We must make the poster available in the next couple of months at our online store, which is oceanic-store.com.
Yeah, I've tried to put them in here. It's come out as a bit of a mess on the screen, but I think you can work that out, folks. There's, if you want to go and visit Les, that'll be the Oceanic-Cafe. But as he's mentioned there, Oceanic-Store to buy, well, hopefully a descendant of this poster in time to come, and celebrate in the same way. What's the conservation picture then, Les? I mean, this is part of raising awareness among the young minds of children to help them relate, perhaps in a way that some of us older folks have lost touch a little bit with nature, and you're reigniting, re-inspiring the connection for younger people. How's it looking in the oceans around the Azores from a conservation point of view?
In the Azores, it's very good because we have a history here. The local authorities have done great work with environmental education in the schools. I can say, especially on our island of Faial, we've had an excellent track record. And we have an excellent state of awareness amongst the children here, and a good knowledge of what exists in the ocean and the need to protect it. So it's worked very well here, but then we're right next to the ocean. I mean, we're we're surrounded by it, so it's easy for us to study and feel like we're close to it. So there's still a need for people to appreciate ocean life. I mean, for most people, it's just it's an open expanse with one or two animals popping out the water every now and again. And it's difficult for people to visualize what's actually there. We have great documentaries that are doing outstanding work and showing glimpses of marine life. But in the schools, we still need people to appreciate. We need people to understand. And in a lot of cases, we need good visualization. We know that we have a tremendous appreciation of all the big wild animals that we see in Africa, etc., because there's lots of images of them. There's lots of, they're easy to observe. In the ocean, it's difficult to observe them. They're very big. Filmmakers see them moving very quickly for brief moments. And so sometimes just basic artwork, it inspires thought and it inspires appreciation and respect for the ocean. And that's what we need. We need a generation to become more connected with nature. That's we can all make better decisions in the long term, because the better decisions are, as we know, very much needed.
Well said. Yeah, well said. And Magellan, then, 500 years ago, a circumnavigation. I mean, not as much is made of Magellan as other explorers. Why do you think that is?
Can't really say, actually. It's a long time ago, I guess.
It's just too long ago. Okay, and Were you involved in the making of the Magellan poster as well? Because I'm trying to bring that on the screen as we speak. But there's a lot of information in that poster as well, isn't there?
Yeah, no, I wasn't involved in that part of the artwork and that initiative.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm trying to bring it onto the screen, but it's not playing ball with me at the moment. It is very, very amazing, and I'm sure kids would be quite inspired. Oh, we saw it briefly there, and I can pass that on to anyone who might like to see that. But I mean, the main thing is your beautiful work, Les. I'm so inspired and awestruck by your capability. Not just in that department, but your amazing lifestyle, which I think should be the subject of a movie over there at some point. We need to let things settle down in Hollywood before we start talking to people over there at the moment, obviously, of course. But what a fantastic place to be. Could you remind us again, if people are wanting to scout over in the Azores, where do they find you exactly?
We're based here. Oceanic is in the central group, so we're on the island of Fayal. I mean, a lot of people look at flights, will see the main hub is San Miguel, and that is the town of Portugal on San Miguel. But we're about 150 miles from there, so about 300 kilometers. So we're a short inter-island flight. But we're here on the central group. We have the. It was for many years. It was the main seaport of the Azores. It was traditionally it was the most important seaport, and we're just right in the middle of the Azores group. There's 9 islands altogether, and there's 3 in the central group, and we're in one of them. So that's where. And
it's quite a journey then to come see you. It's like it sort of summons up a feeling of yesteryear, doesn't it? And traveling around the world, where you fly in, and then you've still got another 300 kilometers to go to get to you. What by another flight, and then a short taxi ride.
A short taxi ride, 10 minutes. It's quite quick, but it's worth it because it's our remoteness that keeps us natural. So we haven't been subject to excessive tourism. It's still a very beautiful natural place. It's still very much intact, and this is our remoteness is actually to our advantage in many ways.
That may well be quote of the morning. It's our remoteness that keeps us natural, because on the other end of that spectrum, it's our centralization here this morning that got us involved in a power cut. And it only takes one little glitch in the matrix here, and we were without power. Many homes without power. So long may your beautiful situation persist there, and we'll keep. Maybe do we need to control the amount of tourists coming out? I guess it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You want them in some way for GDP, etc., and then it changes things as well.
Yeah, no, I think we just go with the flow. We've got enough work here as it is. It's just fine. Just leave it the way it is. It's okay.
There's another great bit of life advice. Go with the flow and let it be. Let it be as it is. Les, it's always great talking to you. Good luck with the project, and hopefully you will be. There'll be kids whose lives you'll be affecting, whose minds you'll be affecting, who you'll never meet. And I think this will just be going into the great ether of the human mind and heart, and hopefully creating a really great relationship and feeling around these megafauna creatures here that you see that Les has so brilliantly illustrated here. Great to speak to you again, Les.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome.
It looks like a nice cozy pub there.
It does, doesn't it? That's what I thought, Pam, straight away.
That's one thing I miss, a nice pub with a fireplace.
It's cozy, isn't it? Cozy looking. Yes. Yeah, I think it looks like it's worth making that journey to pop over there. And if you look at the photos, they have some good nights over there with music, live music, great food, great booze, and that warm fire there, great atmosphere. Les, thanks so much for joining us. Take care, mate.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All the best. All the best. There he goes. What I didn't say, Pam, he's also a captain. He's like a character from Jaws. We're going to need a bigger boat. Yeah, because he's also a boat captain, and he takes people out looking at fishing and looking at the great megafauna there, and that is so beautiful, isn't it? I mean, I want one of those, but we can't have one yet. Bye, Les.
I can't really see it on the screen, but it'd be good to look at it in a.
It's an irony there. Yeah, it's an irony. It's megafauna, but you can't really see him. You're not going to
read that on your phone, are you?
No. Take my word for it, everybody. There are pictures of megafauna there on that thing that you can't probably quite see on your phone at the moment. Pam, good morning to you. Thank you for being such a sport. Thank you for bearing with this morning. We don't usually have power. power outages of this scale. Oh, hello. Good morning to
Yeah,
you as well.
Gary's appeared on schedule.
Gary always appears, I think, when the talking starts and the camera's on. Gary needs to be there showing his bottom off to the camera, as cats like to do.
Yeah.
So we got some. Everyone was having quite an interesting conversation earlier on, were they not? I don't know if we need a live stream in the morning still. We could just have a chat.
No, I think I've said everything. So
okay, well, thanks a lot. It's been great talking with you. No, don't go anywhere while you're here. You, of course, are part of the. I was thinking about how to express this. It's like the Ocean's 11. I think there aren't 11 of you, but you're like the Ocean's 11 of getting people over to Portugal, aren't you? A team of various skills and locations. Which of the archetypes of the Ocean's 11 team where would you place yourself in that?
I've never seen those films, so I can't.
You've ruined my analogy then. Thanks for that. Okay, what films have you seen that involve a group of people or a gang, like Famous Five or something like that? Five Go Mad in Portugal. That's you lot, isn't it? Maybe not. Not.
Very sensible, mature people.
Very sensible, mature people. I will show you pictures of them to prove it in just a moment. But can you articulate for us how it is? I mean, really, the benefit of working with you, because it started out, I think, with some, Zoom calls. The whole project, a great idea. I think it was Jerry's idea first of all. Talk to somebody local, and it's extended into becoming an expat buddy for the people on the Premium Plus course. Yeah. And you've given some amazing insight and support to people coming over who've engaged you on a longer basis. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, well, that's why when you said you had some space on the show this week, I thought people are probably not fully aware of how this service can work for them. Yeah. Like, people know if they go into a particular town, or if there's an Ask Our expat there, they can get in touch and they can get shown around and get to know the local area. But I think that's a good service. That's useful for people that know where they're going. But there's a lot of people that don't know. They're just thinking about moving to Portugal and they don't know the specifics. And really what they need, although they don't always know that they need this, which is why it's quite tricky to get them to pay for a service to provide it. What they need is someone to kind of hold the hand and talk them through the realities of this big project that they're taking on, because it's not. One thing, I'm a really big fan of Tom Waits. I love his songs. And a lot of his songs are kind of stories about moving to a new town, getting a new place, getting a job, getting a new girl. And it's so easy. It's like on a whim, move. Go to a new town, get a job that day, get a new house that day. The reality is it's not that easy. And especially moving to another country is a whole different complication. It's all the language and the different culture and the different bureaucracy. Everything's different. Even things that you don't think are going to be different are different. And some things that you think are going to be different are the same. You just don't know.
Yes. Quite.
So it's kind of all the things that you've not thought about. Like, it's great, the project that you do, the Premium Plus plan, where you talk people through the different official stages, like getting a visa, finding somewhere to live. All of that stuff is quite easy to specify. This is a bit more difficult to specify what it is, because it depends on the person. But I always kind of approach it with somebody to kind of get them to think about what life they want in Portugal. Because often it's not just moving to a different country and carry on with your life, the same life in a different place. People are making changes in their life. They're either retiring or they're looking for something new to do with their life. So it's not the same. Indeed. It's no good looking for a place that fits in with your old life when you're not going to be living that life anymore.
So true.
You need to think about what you want your life to be and what the possibilities are, and find something that suits that, which is quite difficult, really.
I think you're right. And as a sort of Portugal Pollyanna, I've tended to overlook this aspect of things. And I think it's a really important service. Jean's found it useful. I've been working it out with my friends, but Pam definitely helped keeping the mental health aspect straight. EI's been great with the technical stuff, says Jean. Pam has been great to talk to about the mental, psychological stuff. And,
I think Jean particularly has a lot of really good friends where she lives now, and that's a wrench moving away from that. And okay, you can make new friends and you can keep in touch with your old friends, but I think some of her friends have been kind of a bit, not understanding her reasons for moving, and it's kind of makes it that much more difficult to. It makes you question it more if it's the right thing for you to do, and it's good to question it. It's good to look at the different pros and cons of it, because it really isn't for everybody. But if you're sure it's for you, then you also need to get your family and friends on board with why it's for you and get them to be supportive of it. And
so, do you have those sorts of conversations as well? It's almost like a counselling aspect to it to help people.
I'm not a counsellor, but it does kind of come up. There's like it's different with different people. Some people want to focus on the practicalities of where can I buy this type of shoe, or what does a telly cost, or something like that. But there's also, I think, a lot of people the emotional aspect of leaving your old life behind and getting established in a new life, like how to make friends comes up quite a lot. It's like, where do you meet people? Because it's difficult. Generally in life, you meet people through your work or through school, don't you? And you keep in touch and that evolves. But if you move into a country and retiring, you're not going to meet people at work. Hanging around the cafe, you might get chatting to somebody, but it's not easy, that.
Hanging around, in town. No, it's true, and you're pointing towards a number of issues here that come together as a bit of a perfect or imperfect storm in your new life in Portugal. Because, that's a really important point. The life you're creating is a new life to you, not only in a new country, but if you're retiring and you're not working anymore, you lose all of that frame of reference, don't you, in context?
Yeah, and some people struggle with that on its own. Just retiring is difficult.
Yes, indeed. And then also there's another part to it, isn't there, which is to be with your life partner if you come with another person, and you may have been working for decades and having the relief of the workplace and the contrast of the workplace. And then you're with this person all the time, aren't you? Suddenly. And that can be
I found that when we first moved and we lived in a tiny village, and Tony doesn't drive, and we were just together all the time and not with other people at all, really. Yeah. It wasn't healthy.
Yes.
So you need to, you don't even know that in advance. You can't know. Some people might love that. They might really enjoy just spending all the time with this one person that they love. But, for us, we had nothing to talk about either.
So tell me, that's so honest and brilliant. And is this part of how the service works? Obviously, you're talking from your own personal experience.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're not a counsellor, but it's really valuable information, isn't it, when people talk from their own experience rather than saying what other people should do. It's like, well, this is how we found it, and that can be really useful. What did you do in that situation there as you sat looking at each other thinking, well, we
well, we actually moved. We had a holiday home near Tomar for 10 years. Then we moved to Portugal to that house.
Yes.
But it was up for sale, and we actually sold it and moved within 3 months of moving to Portugal. So we moved to Alcobaça, which is and in the town centre as well. So it was just easier for us both to get out and do separate things. Tony took up running again. I did my volunteering and joined a theatre group and things. So we had separate lives again. Plus, Tony wasn't tied to me driving him somewhere, because in the village you could only get anywhere by car and he didn't drive. Here you can walk everywhere. So he did. And the move to Alcobaça was what did it. I don't think we would have stayed in that village. I don't think we would have stayed in Portugal if we hadn't been able to sell that house, we would have gone back to the
Oh,
UK.
really? So that's a big deal, though, isn't it? Like, so on the one hand, you're thinking, okay, we'll retire to our holiday home. You do it, and then these other sort of issues and challenges come up, and in the doing that. Wow. Okay. So you.
And I love that village. It's the most tranquil place, and for 10 years of holidays, it was the most relaxing place you could go for a holiday. Yes. Absolutely love it there. But to live, having lived in cities all my life, it was driving me mad.
It worked because it was the contrast to your city life.
Yeah.
But then when it became your whole life, it was another matter altogether. Very interesting. Okay. And like you said,
I know
before,
a lot of people are interested in that idea of cutting off from city life and just living the country life and the natural life and the good life.
Yes.
And that's fine. A lot of people do love that, but you know, the reality is that it isn't for everyone, and it
is very different. It is living like that, isn't it? And this thing of being with your significant other, if that's what you do, and being with them all the time, you start digging a hole in the garden, don't you? Anyway, I'll move on.
The land was much too hard there.
I've vastly underestimated my friends and family's reaction. So there's something there that I'm sure you've talked about with Jean and others of the Ask Our Expats team. I've started to talk about this. It's really important on the Premium Plus program. We have a session for this. You know, we call it family, friends in the future, and to spend a moment looking at that, at what it might be like to leave. You know, there is the leaving. There is the homesickness, isn't there, that might come up. And I think these things are generally better talked about in advance and planned around. I know you can't do everything about it because, as you say, it's different. As soon as you arrive, you know, your life experience will be different to what you imagined. But would you agree that it's quite good to make some sort of preparation and planning about how you strategize these homesickness and the wrench of moving away from people?
Yeah, just to be aware that that it's an emotional roller coaster, and you will have periods of doubt. Yeah. Like, it's not all rosy, and there will be times when you come across a bureaucratic brick wall and you think, oh, why am I doing this?
Yes.
But, you know, you need to just get through it, and then everything will be fine again. It's life here is just life. It's not perfect. It's not a bed of roses, but it's what you make of it.
No, don't listen to Pam. Life is perfect and amazing. Actually, no, she's right. It is. It is to me, and this is a great thing because they may well be the kind of life cycle or the trajectory of expat life, where we sort of romanticize and glamorize on the upside, you know, and before we get here. And then, as you say, there will be some serious issues arising that might come up from trying to just go about your business in daily life that can feel very challenging. And when they do kick in, you're away from your established support systems, aren't you? So it can be doubly difficult.
And it can just be really frustrating and really get you down if you just don't know how to get past this barrier that you come up against.
Yeah. So on a practical level, that's also on offer, is it, from the Ask Our Expats team? You might just ring up your Ask Our Expat buddy and say, look, I don't know what to do when I walk into the supermarket at the deli counter and they want me to take a ticket. Is it the same as when I go into Finanzas and everywhere else in Portugal? I presume your answer might be yes.
The thing I think people find helpful about this service, especially if they have a series of sessions booked in advance, is in the time in between the sessions, if they make a note of any questions they think of, they know they've got somebody to ask them to.
Yeah.
And they know that it's somebody that will take the time to, if they don't know the answer, they'll try and find somebody that can answer the questions. And often there's small things that you just don't think of, but you can just say, yeah, don't worry about that, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you can reassure them straight away. But it's maybe not the kind of thing that every little thing like this, they wouldn't ask a question in the forum because, you know, there can be loads of them.
Yes, of course. And people have different opinions, won't they? It's not an intimate and it's not like cultivating a friendship. The forum is fantastic, no question, and you're going to get quantity and quality on a good day, like you would in any Facebook group or any other of those big community situations. But yeah, there's something to be said for developing a closer friendship, I think, with one of our Ask Our Expats folks. And I think that's what's happened, right? You guys talk to each other, obviously, in the team, and we'll have a look at the team in a minute. But, friendships come from this, don't they?
Yeah, I've met a couple of, I've not actually met Jean in person, but a couple of them that have been to the Silver Coast area on scouting trips I've met up with and for a coffee, and it's been really great to see them. Maybe Jean will visit here someday.
And hopefully here too. Gina's got an excellent carrying on from the conversational thread of being in the countryside and whether it turns out as you would quite like. Marriage is like a card game. You begin thinking all you need is 2 hearts and a diamond, and in the end you wind up just hoping for a club and a spade. It's a rather jaundiced view of the great institution.
Not quite there yet, but maybe if we'd stayed in the village.
Yes, so some really good advice from Pam there. This is very interesting. Look, I've gone from a city-centered person, so Pete might have thought, I'm a city guy. I'll do the same in Portugal. But look at this, he's changed. He's freaked out by cities now, even Portuguese ones, and they're not huge, are they? Generally speaking, Castelo Branco is a city here, probably quite close to Pete. And I think it's a bit stressful for him, bless him. Plus, admin in a small village is so much easier. Yeah, popping along to the Junta de Freguesia or the camera, much better. And it's changing, Pete, in front of our very eyes here. I love living in the countryside. It is great. Don't miss London at all. Love tractoring. And he's going to end up being one of those people who takes his partner to town on the front bucket of the tractor for a lovely day out for the missus there. Superb. I think there were some nice references to Tom Waits here as well. Talk about Saudade. Yes. What is there more transferable help from Tom Waits for us this morning, Pam?
Oh, yeah, you could. I'm thinking somebody should do Tom Waits quotes of the day. All these quotes of the day, there's no Tom Waits. Definitely
okay.
not.
Could somebody please?
I'm not committing to it now.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Actually, when Tom Waits was starting out, all of that moving around stuff was really easy in America. People of my somewhat advanced age remember it fondly. So yes, some transferables from the world of Tom Waits.
Yeah, it's a romantic idea, and it's kind of conjures up that freedom of just starting a new life somewhere. And maybe if it was that easy, you wouldn't value it as much.
That's true.
The other thing about this kind of getting people to face the possible pitfalls is one aspect of it, but also to appreciate that it is an exciting project that they're doing and make sure they don't think too small as well. Think about all those things you've wanted to do in your life. If you're retiring and moving to a new country, now's the time, pretty much. Find somewhere you can do those things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a big adventure, as well as some of the caveats we're offering this morning. It is a huge adventure, and we are there with you. I mean, we celebrate it every morning, don't we? How great it is. But it's a holistic thing. There are aspects to it that need attending to that can get overlooked, and this is one way of doing it. So can you help with this sort of thing? The only thing I missed was Bovril, and you have sated my lust for the brown stuff. So this must come up in Ask Our Expat conversations. Can I get my Hershey bars? Can I get my Marmite? Can I get my X, Y, and Z that I know from the old place? It's not that difficult anymore, is it?
No, you can get everything at glue and flavours in Lisbon. Yeah. There's shops all over the place, but if you can't get them locally, you can get them from Lisbon, mail order.
Yep. Okay, no sooner asked than supplied. Look at this. Thank you, T-Duck. Great to see you yesterday. And to meet you, Baddy. It was great to see you at the Silver Coast meetup. I'm hoping Pam will come along to one of those one day. And Tony, and maybe Gary. Do you take Gary out on a lead or not?
No.
Gary is the cat, everybody, by the way, not the partner. A gentleman is someone, and I think Portuguese people would be quite cool if you took your partner out on a lead. Very open-minded here. A gentleman is someone who can play the accordion, but doesn't. Tom Waits. So yes, the idea of sitting in a bar or a cafe.
Tom Waits is the only person that will tolerate having bagpipes on a record.
You must love him so much. I'm not a percussionist. I just like to hit things. They're coming thick and fast. Oh, I don't mind going to weddings.
Stop now. This is
Look at this. I don't mind going to weddings. This is along the same lines as Gene. Just as long as it's not my own. Would you have Tom Waits as a singer at your wedding? Probably not the right vibe. Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Really? Okay. Wish our move to Portugal was smoother. We seem to have been told many things, all of which seem to be on they feel we'd like to hear and not always what we need to know. That's a really good point. And that I think happens in any migration journey, doesn't it? You have a lot of people who want you to come for all sorts of agendas and reasons, and there's a commercial aspect to it. And this is what we're trying to do here, Gary, is balance that, all of that technical stuff that Jean mentioned. You know, we know all the right professionals to work with here, we'd like to think, but there is another side to it. There's the human side, and the Ask Our Expats team are great with that sort of stuff. Why bother with Marmite when you can get pashtash? It's a very good question, and it's quite right to ask that. So Andy, who also says that's what the man cave's for, and it's true. The man cave is a really good outlet. It is, and it began, of course, in the pandemic lockdown times when you couldn't get out, and that whole thing of being not only being in a new country with your partner all the time, but being locked in a small place possibly with that person. The man cave was a great outlet and continues to be for that sort of thing. So let's have a look at the team now. There is the rather marvelous Thomas, who is in the I'm thinking of his company, Rehabilitatio, which is based on the Ribatejo area.
Santarém.
Yeah, Santarém. And it's not, I mean, the thing is here, you could be forgiven for thinking, okay, well, I'll speak to the person who lives in that area. But there's more to it than that. I mean, certainly Thomas could give you great advice, certainly on restaurants and buying wine and all the goodies of the Ribatejo area. But it's a more rounded experience, isn't it, that all of the team bring, because they know the Portuguese, or they're a little bit ahead, aren't they, in understanding the Portuguese culture. So it's not just location based; it's lifestyle as well, isn't it, Pam?
Yeah, and we've all obviously had different experiences, but we've all come across the bureaucracy. Like, I didn't go through the visa process; I came before Brexit, but I listened to Gilda on a Monday morning, and I know the process, and we're not there to help with that. It's more the kind of, I think we all kind of travel throughout the country as much as we can because we love the country, not just our little corner of it.
Well, so, Lucy's certainly somebody who does that.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people struggle with, they think they want to be in a little village, whereas a city here might be what they're thinking of as a village. The scale of places is, especially to people coming from America, to where there are vast cities. Even Lisbon isn't that. And where I live in Alcobaça is a city, but it's smaller than the town I lived in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is not true. Actually, we'll be on till 11 a.m. We were cut short, literally by a power cut this morning, and we might go a little bit over. Although you've got to go quite soon, haven't you, Pam?
I've got a Zoom meeting at 10:30.
Right. Okay. Well, we will not keep you much longer. You might want to be preparing for your next call, of course. So let's quickly have a look at the team. There's the lovely Lucy there, and lives over the Tamar area and knows the Algarve as well. Speaks English and is studying Portuguese. How's your Portuguese going, Pam?
It's good.
I think you're the most competent. And so if there's the Ask Our Expat...
No, Anna's definitely better.
Oh, Anna's a little bit better, isn't she? But that's because she is Portuguese. She's a little bit of an exception in this group, isn't she? Because she's not strictly speaking an expat, but she managed to find her way in the team, is absolutely invaluable over there in the Cascais area. And Sally, some of you will know from a different capacity, part of the Expats Portugal team, in the admin side as well. Sally lives in of course, she lives in Portugal. She lives in the capital in Lisboa and can help you with that.
That reminds me, a message from Sally. She said, tell everyone that tickets are available for next Thursday's Ask Our Expats session on the Thursday night for the volunteering one.
It sounds like it could be in a theatre. Maybe we will do that one of these days, and we'll have an evening, a one-woman show about volunteering with Pam. So yeah, next week's is about volunteering, and we'll come back to the team in just a moment. Very briefly then, and there's a little bit of a foretaste of next week's volunteering special. It's a blooming great thing to do. Gets you out of the house, gets you learning Portuguese. What are the benefits from volunteering, Pam?
Well, you meet people, you make friends.
Yeah.
You get to know about your local area, the social issues potentially, and how you can help with that. You get to benefit the local community. And it's It's all good. Everyone wins.
It's so good. We'll deep dive into the volunteering experience next Thursday. As Pam says, tickets available. Urinating in the wind. We can't help you with that, Pete. Pam, have you experienced CTT, the postal service? Now, this is another great question, of course, because it is these aspects of everyday life. And having a few life hacks around posting things to and from Portugal is invaluable, because that can be quite a stressful experience. Have you given up on CTT, or do you still go to the post office from time to time?
I don't really post much, just the occasional birthday card to the UK. But they get there really quick these days, for me, like 2-3 days.
Yes,
I was late with my sister-in-law's card, and it got there anyway.
Posted from here?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little bit of a cheat with that, folks, is to use something like Touch Note, where obviously you can't write in it yourself, but you can make a really nice pictorial card to send, and it's sent directly from the factory that prints it. And that will be in the country probably of postage. Certainly Touch Note, I think, in the UK. We do all of our stuff like that to avoid the possibilities of it going missing between here and the UK. So those sorts of services are available. I think the post office is pretty good. You know, when you go in with your registration number, and they can tell you how many toll gantries you've driven through, and you can just pay your bill like that. There's so much.
The app now.
Oh, yeah, you got the app as well. But there's a lot available. And the bank account's pretty good at CTT as well, because there are branches, obviously, all over the country.
Yeah, I bank with them.
Yeah.
I've not had any problems. I know a lot of people have problems receiving deliveries if they live somewhere rural, but I don't. I live in the middle of the city, so it's easy.
Yes. Yeah.
If we're out, the neighbours taking a parcel for us. If they're out, we're taking a parcel for them.
Yeah, I did that this morning, actually, when I was looking out the window to see if anyone else's lights were on. One of my neighbours was I think, over from Spain, and I'd taken in I'd signed for something. It's very lovely, isn't it, how that can happen? People are very helpful here. Did you know Sally likes snorkeling? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, no.
We'll have to ask her about that next time we talk to her. Snorkeling and diving. I wonder what the opportunities are. Oh, there you go, T-Duck. You wanted to know about diving. Here in Portugal. Talk to Sally about that, and food and wine. I think that's on everybody's list of interests here. There's also Maria Costa over in the Tamar area as well. English, Portuguese, and some Spanish. And it doesn't say so there, but she's a bit of an expert on developing alojamento local, the Airbnb and overnight stay B&B kind of experience. She's got some excellent experience, hard-won experience in that department as well. So they've all got
it's quite a process.
It is quite a process. And she's doing very well on it. So how it works, your expat is here to help you explore and find out more about your potential lifestyle in Portugal. And it can, how does it work? Is it done mainly over Zoom? I know you do some in person now. It's got easy to do that, Pam.
It's mainly over Zoom, because of being in different locations. The people that have come to the Silver Coast, I've met up with them. But it works out quite well, I think, over Zoom.
All right, look at that. CTT actually added a note, by the sound of it, to Jack Polly's Mother's Day card. Just wanted to make sure everything was okay in there. And we have a post CTT place in the Papelera Tabacaria. Don't hate the spelling. Yeah, I think we could put some red lines through that, but we won't do that right now, Andy, under our apartment, and get reliable mail. So that's another good system to know about, isn't it? Where you'll get the shop below will take it in for you as well. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I've heard people in villages, quite often the local cafe will take things in for you if you're a regular there.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of my favourite stories about deliveries. I was having a coffee, and the delivery lady rang me up because she was outside my house, and I gave her my location. She brought it down to the cafe for me. I offered to buy her a coffee. She was too busy, but it was such a good service. And I was some way away from home. Can one join in anywhere from Portugal? Buddy, is that for the volunteering webinar next week? Yes, of course. It's over Zoom, so you can do that. Or can you join in and talk to an Ask Our Expats person? As Pam said, they're over Zoom, so you can do that as well. Okay. I have been given dud info even by Expert. It does happen. It does happen, doesn't it? It can't be helped. Humans being humans and all that. So it's best to double check and have your favourites for sure.
I'll just say for the Ask Our Expats, we do all kind of try to not give. We don't try to come across as experts in things just to, to have something to say. It's kind of, if I'm not sure about something, I'll pass you on to somebody else, or I'll just say this is how it was for me, but it may be different now, or it may be different for you, because it's 7 years since I moved to Portugal. Some things have changed. And I think we're all pretty honest about our limitations in our knowledge. Our experience is our experience. It's not going to be your experience. So I'd kind of, for things that are important, get proper advice from an expert. But it is helpful to speak to somebody about their experiences and to help you to formulate your own plan, I think.
Yep, and the clue is in the name, isn't it? It's Ask Our Expats, not Ask Our Experts. We have a business directory for asking the experts, and they often appear on the show here in the morning. What we're talking about this morning, you can find out more at expatsportugal.com/Ask Our Expats, not the experts. It's about their life experience. And João F. remembers, in my childhood, CTT were exemplary 50 years ago. You could actually send a letter on a Sunday from one Lisbon address to another, and it would arrive on the same day. And I imagine that's the time where they wore uniforms and hats and didn't scooter about like pizza delivery people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm sure you're talking about a golden age there where post people still wore caps. Oh, look at that. Maxine, always great. Papalala land. Tabacaria. Oh, those are I's and not L's. Papai. Oh, emphasis on the capital I anyway. And that's Randy, not for me this morning, I think. It was a public service. By then, they had no computers and people used to send a lot more correspondence by regular mail than in our days. Incredible, isn't it? To think back like that. The fellas on the, and they tend to be fellas on the railways, seem to be upholding that, don't they? They're so well dressed and smart, I always think, when I travel on a Portuguese train. Sometimes you need just someone in Portugal to talk about all those moving parts. Are you happy to talk about moving parts, Pam?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Okay. And
trains quite a lot.
It's snowing heavy here at the moment in the UK. There's another good reason to move over. So a couple more things then, just before you go. What do you enjoy most about being part of the team?
I really enjoy speaking to people and hearing their story, what's bringing them to move to Portugal and what they're hoping for when they move and all their plans. And it's just exciting. It reminds me, obviously, of the time when I was going through that. So it brings up the kind of the worries that you have, but also it was a really exciting time moving to a new country and exploring all this new culture and new country that you're moving to.
Yeah, in my experience of this, it is lovely talking with people and being part of the excitement of them moving. We're veering away from calling ourselves experts, but I think on this occasion it's justified to call you a little bit of an expert on Alcobaça. Because that's where you live. And you're a bit of a legend there. People know you. I've spoken to third parties who know you around and about Alcobaça, Pam, including this gentleman here. We talked about this yesterday, didn't we? That is João there, isn't it? Because we have two opera singers. Say that again.
I think he's had a haircut since I last saw him.
He's a very well-presented gentleman, I have to say. Excellent turtleneck there.
Yeah, it's quite new, that cafe. I think it was late last year they opened it.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, and I played the video yesterday of him singing, which is what he does. You're having a coffee and a cake, and then some music will come on a little bit louder than the background music you've been listening to, and he will sing over it, and it's the most delightful experience. That and what other? Could you give us? Let's say that's in the top 3 experiences of going to Alcobaça. Could you give us a couple more for people who are heading Alcobaça way? And they should, shouldn't they? They should go to Alcobaça on a tour.
Yeah, I would say the summer fair is really good. Yeah, it's not been on for the last 2 years, but it's definitely back this year. I can see the diggers clearing the land out of my window where it's going to be. I'm going to have front seat on my balcony. It's really good. It's a proper country fair. It's got all the animals and the trade fair element, equestrian events, the folklore dancing. There's a bike race, a running race. There's what else?
That's quite a lot to be getting on with.
There's food and drink, obviously, always food and drink. And there's big pop concerts. I don't know who's on this year, but they usually have names that you've heard of. Yeah. And the concerts are going to be in front of the monastery this year. So that's
going to be great, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I think it might be a bit crowded. because it was in a big field before.
A great big piazza there, isn't there? Praça.
Yeah. I mean, I think the idea is that it brings more commerce to the city centre, because it used to be on the edge of town, and people didn't go in all the shops and cafes. Yeah.
So we've got the summer fair. We've got the Arco do Sister. Is that what it's
Opera
called?
Cafe.
Yeah, the opera. Let's just call it the Opera Cafe. And your third recommendation, presumably, is something to do with eating some of the local chocolate or liqueur.
No. I'm getting a name for myself as someone that eats lots of cakes and chocolates, and it's not true. So I'm going to say something. You just
like to put that straight on the air this morning. Okay, fair enough.
A place that I do go to every day is our Green Park, which is quite new. It's like 3 years old, I think, and it's not massive, but it's just a nice little park around the river, and it's a lovely place where people walk the dogs. I did see somebody walking a cat there yesterday.
Seriously?
A teenage girl carrying a cat. I thought my cat wouldn't let you do that.
No. My children don't like it either. But yes.
It seemed okay with it.
Incredible, isn't it? That is a lovely park, and I have to say, in the cafe they have cakes from Atelier de Dos in there. Which is yes. You do eat cakes. So I
have to have been for a walk.
Right, no, it is superb, and I think the way they're developing Alcobaça, because there is a lot of, I think we've got it down as a bit of a boom town, haven't we, for the future? Because there's a lot of development going on, isn't there? And they do want to expand the population, and they seem to be building infrastructure on the edge and then filling the gap in between.
Yeah, they're building a couple of fast food restaurants, which is not universally popular, and an outlet, which I'm not sure what that means, but
like a little forum, maybe a shopping forum almost, or an industrial
estate big, but there's something they're building up near Decathlon.
Oh, I say, okay, they've got everything there then.
Yeah, there's diggers everywhere. You can't move from.
Diggers in Graves in Alcobaça, which is where you are, of course. Yes, Andy. Has he not been listening, has he? Pam, are you in Alcobaça? Yes, it's almost called Pam Cabasa now. Because of the great work that Pam's doing over there.
I've only been asked my autograph once, so.
Well, that's one more than me, which says that's pretty amazing. And who was that by? The cat on the lead.
It was just after I was in a play. I was in a play a few years ago, and the day after, this woman that goes in the cafe that I go in, she said, "Oh, can I have your autograph?" She gave me the program to sign. That
is fantastic, isn't it? And you performed in Portuguese, right?
Yeah, it was about 3 lines.
Well, don't underestimate that, Pam. And as I said before, you are the person to speak to, apart from Anna. But as an expat who's learnt, foreigner coming in and who's getting to grips with the language, I think you're doing amazingly well. And there's a lot to learn from you from that point of view. So on that note, unless there's anything else you want to share about the team and the experience, I thank you very much.
No, I think that's everything. Just, just be aware that we're here. We're happy to answer your questions and be that link to moving to Portugal, that point of contact to find things out for you on the ground. And come along to the volunteering session and you can hear me go on and on a bit more.
Next Thursday, and so you can book up. Go to expatsportugal.com to find out more about the Ask Our Expats team, even make a booking and sign yourself up for the webinar at the same time for next Thursday. Tonight's webinar is Let's Compare, where we're looking at utility. Well, the cost of living generally. The main comparisons will be with the US and the UK, but all countries welcome. Wherever you're coming from, we'll do our best.
The way prices are going up.
Well, we'll have to do another one next week, won't we, to reflect the changes? Probably. Maybe yeah. What, for the new petrol price tomorrow? It's true. Okay. Yeah, it's an ever-changing picture. It's true. But I think we can give you some sense into sort of percentage terms, can't we? What the savings, or in some areas, to be fair, there are increases as well, supplements, spectacles, and gasoline, gas. Those are the things that tend to be a little bit more expensive than you might be used to if you're American. Not so much these days, though, of course. But in other areas, incredible savings to be made, and we're talking about a few of those tonight. And I'm hoping, Pam, you'll be there to help us with that because you've been very helpful with that in the past.
I'll try to be there. Can't guarantee it. Depends if I get all my work done.
Okay, I'll let you go then. All right, thank you very much, Pam. You've been amazing.
Right, thanks for having me on.
All right, brilliant idea to be here. There she goes, Pamela Smith in Alcabasa. Pam Cabasa. Hey, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for bearing with this morning under tremendous strain of a power cut this morning. It was a long one. It's nearly an hour long. Andrew says, remember, Carlos, it's an hour and a half and has to read all these comments. Honestly, talk about wanting your pound of flesh. Cindy, that's a great point. I have what I call my almost daily expat challenge. That's really good. There's a feature. We should do that in the mornings. If you have those, let us know. Something I haven't done before. Ask Our Expats would help with this. I recommend. Very good. Back to Les and the Azores. Azores is probably the last unsport land in Europe. Stay away from it, everybody. Let it be. There's something about a poster with a variety of species, sparks memories of childhood and the sense of place in the world. Amazing illustration. He's such a modest fellow as well. I mean, look at him. He's got a bar cafe, looks fantastic, is fantastic. He's an illustrator like that, and he's a fishing boat captain as well. What a geezer. The chat is from this morning. The chat is good, but definitely better with Carl M saying, thank you, Gene. That's very, very good. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you saying that. What's this? We haven't heard much from the prof this morning. Did we miss a today in Portuguese history? I think we might have done with all the kerfuffle earlier on. The experience of being 50 plus is really just, you're not over 50. Get out of here, you savior. It really just explaining your films and TV to younger people. Yesterday spent 10 minutes explaining the closing credits of Stingray, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. What are the closing credits of that apart from that song? She glides under the sea into the world below, but against all adversity sails homeward bound. So we are like Stingray going off into the oceanic distance to tie that little theme with Les of the Oceanic Cafe and Store and that lovely poster that Portuguese children will be seeing as we speak. I think they're being distributed to nearly 5,000 Portuguese schools. Great work, Les, and thank you so much to Pam, and thanks to all the Ask Our Expats team for the work they've done, and thank you all, especially. Thank you, yes, you, for hanging around this morning, just continuing in the chat before we were able to get on air because of the power cut that happened earlier on. Thank you so much. We'll see you this evening for that comparison. Do come along. It's going to be quite chatty and informal, and we'll have a lot of fun, I think, comparing prices of things. I wonder what the most unusual thing is where we can do a price comparison. It'd probably be Stranger Than Bovril, which could be the name of an album, couldn't it? Stranger Than Bovril. Bye, Pam. Loved your presence on the show. It's our Euro of... the Euro of flesh, not the pound of flesh. Do forgive me. People showing appreciation to Pam, Jean, to Nubianette, and to T-Duck. I can keep Carl busy. Nope. I'm going now. Prof, don't be like that. Yeah, after yesterday and today, goodness knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I've lived for a long time in Sacramento. Surprised, I've already forgotten. What? And is that about petrol prices, possibly? And Andy would love to sail in and around the Azores. Oh, it's a holiday in California, perhaps. And Cesar Chavez. Okay, thank you very much for that, Nubian. There's a lot of random comments towards the end, aren't there? As people are typing them in furiously. Marina, Marina. I don't know what. Oh, is that part of Stingray? I don't remember that bit. Kilogram of flesh, of course. Have we not got it's not kilo de carne or something like that? Thanks for today, folks. Have a great day. Brilliant. And Cindy B from Pam. Pam's still here. Look, that's a great idea. Get out of your comfort zone. That's the last message. And no, Andy, I'm gonna go and have a lie down now after all this morning's challenges. Oh, that's a cheap shot, Sam, trying to keep me here pronouncing words. How many more? How does one pronounce Azores? Well, the Americans say the Azores, don't they? I would go with Azores. That's my best guess at that and what I tend to do. A little bit like Kashkash. We'll see. We'll find out in due course if that's the right thing to do. And see you Premium Plus, folks, on the 9 o'clock show tonight, the 9 o'clock troubleshooting Q&A and catch up 9 p.m. But yes, that webinar, 7:30 tonight. Maybe see you there. You've been excellent. Ciao for now.